It's a zoning
ordinance. It's a
change.
zoning change. Paul office housing out.
Probably.
Mhm.
Maybe get rid of this. This is
Yeah.
what-
He's, and then my daughter,
I thought about
especially
doing like
whenever
they did in the old days where they take a wire and they do
Mhm.
this way behind it. Pull it up and you tie your head and put your hair over it. And it's over. That's what my mother did in the day. Yeah.
Tim not
They used to
gonna be
choke
here
somebody. But yeah, they pull it up to make it, that's why we had that such sharp.
I'm good we don't get through this.
Can tape them.
Those folks over there, you know.
Let's
think they're the ones that
We're ready.
We're ready?
Everybody
Are we ready?
All right, let's do this. Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, July 15th meeting of the Collegeville City Commission. We've got a good turnout tonight. I want to thank everyone for being here. We've got a lot of items to discuss. But before we start our meeting, I've asked Commissioner Baker to lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Will you stand, please?
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings you've given us and for watching over and protecting us. Father, help us today to make good decisions. Lead, God, and direct. We give you the glory, the praise, and the honor, and bless everyone here. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Let's pledge, please. Salute. Pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
And can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Baker,
Here.
Commissioner Lamb. Here. Commissioner Sadler, Vice Mayor Johnson, Mayor Lloyd.
Present. And I believe we've had a chance to look over the previous meeting's minutes. Any questions, deletions, changes?
Now I make a move that we accept.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion for approval in a second.
Commissioner Baker,
Yay.
Commissioner Lamb,
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd.
Yay. And we open up the meeting this evening to comments from citizens. If there are any citizens that would like to address the commission, we ask that you come before the commission this evening. Step up to the microphone, give us your name and your address, please.
Hi, Angela Bazell, 4151 Downing Lane, 37363. And I wanted to make some comments based on the parking issue that came up at the last meeting. Is this the correct time to do
Yes,
that?
yes.
So I just
If you would
wanted,
pull the microphone just slightly in front of you.
sure.
Thanks.
I just wanted to I watched the commission meeting. I wasn't here in person, but watched the commission meeting and the discussion regarding the parking and using a land that I understand from the meeting was donated as additional parking for the Commons, Imagination Station, Little Debbie Park, and other activities we have here. My mom is someone who initially lived in Collegedale in the 1970s and has watched the city grow and has really decided to retire here with her late husband based on the growth and the opportunities and the community engagement with activities like we see at the Commons, the dinners they attended at the VFW, the walking on the Greenway. What has always been an issue, though, is the parking, especially having a mom who is disabled and cannot park down the road and walk here, having to drop her off, having to leave her when I go and go get the car to come pick her up. It's an issue. And so my hope is that the city commission would have the forethought and think strategically about the needs of a growing community that has, a lot of people who are older as well as younger. And I don't think that the growth and expansion in Collegedale or the engagement that you want from the citizens is going to change. And so I would hope that you would take the land that has been donated and use that to make these activities accessible to as many people in the community as possible. So I just wanted to state that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other citizens who would like to address the commission? Okay, if there are no other citizen comments, then we will move on to unfinished business, of which there is none. And then new business, first reading of ordinance 1147.
An ordinance to amend the official zoning map to rezone certain properties from C2 Shopping Center Commercial to MUTC Mixed Use Town Center, more particularly described as Hamilton County Tax Map 131, Parcel 096.14, said property being located within the corporate limits of Collegedale, Tennessee.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jason Allen, and I'm the staff planner for the city of Collegedale. So this was initially taken as zoning 2024-05, last week's planning commission. So it comes before you today to get final approval. The applicant is proposing to change the zone of the property located at 5243 Little Debbie Parkway. The property is currently zoned under two zones, which is shopping center commercial, mixed use town center. The applicant is proposing to remove that shopping center commercial zone and rezone the entire property as MUTC. If approved, the applicant is seeking to construct a 9,600 square foot building that would allow general commercial and restaurant type uses in the existing commercial development. So here's the current aerial view of the site plan. As you can see, the bottom portion to the south is the vacant area that the applicant wishes to construct that building. And that's what's currently zoned as MUTC, with the shopping center commercial is what is already developed. So here's a zoning map that kind of shows that. You can see at the very bottom, the light blue portion, that's a mixed use town center. And to the north, you have the shopping center commercial. So surrounding land uses, as you can see, you have shopping center commercial to the north, east, and south. And to the west, you have mixed use town center, which is the area that the apartments are currently constructed. So surrounding land uses, to the north, you have vacant land. To the east, you have Little Debbie Parkway. To the south, we have a pump station, and to the west is an apartment complex. So here's a site plan proposal of what the applicant intends to construct. See if I can zoom in. So here's the vacant land, and here's currently what is already developed. So setbacks, the front yard is none as well as the side yard, and with the rear yard, you would have a 20-foot setback. The applicant will be required to match the existing street yard vegetation and landscape that's already in place, and that is same for the rear. There's only about 15 feet that's missing still, so they would just have to fill in that gap between them and the apartments. And of course, screening of the dumpster and other equipment. So the existing parcel is currently a part of a larger existing commercial development that holds medical offices and other retail uses. The proposed building would sit to the south end of the property and provide an additional dumpster along with additional parking for the entire commercial complex. Staff finds the request to be compatible with the surrounding area and points to the existing commercial uses on the subject property. Adding staff use the rezone as a clean up to create consistent zoning for the entire property and would not bring much change to the area. And with that, staff recommends the approval of ordinance 1147.
Okay, any questions?
So are we talking about just parking here? They just want to add more parking space?
No, so it'd be more parking spaces and a 9,600 square foot building.
Okay, this,
Any other questions from the commission? Do we have a motion for approval?
I move that we approve the change.
And I will second that. And roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
yay.
Commissioner Lamb,
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd.
Yay. Thank you very much. And second item on the agenda is approval of TLO subscriber contract for the police department.
So TransUnion is just a company that provides access to an online public records database that our investigators and officers use when working investigations. We had been with TransUnion TLO in the past. We switched providers with another competitor, but after about a year, the detectives came back and said they preferred to stick with TransUnion and TLO. They found it much more user-friendly and were able to get information from it better. So we're going to go back to them, and this is just the agreement that we need signed to move forward with that.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
For how long is the agreement? Do you do that, renew it every year?
I can't remember if this is a yearly or,
Say, I don't remember.
do you recall, Sam?
I don't off the top of my head. Let me take a look real
Is it
quick.
cost effective?
Yes, it is. And is it like, again, it's a tool that we've had before and used before. We just went with a competitor that was a little cheaper, but after using it for the year, the detectives came back to me and said they much preferred to go back to what they were using before. I don't think it's yearly.
I'm looking for the term.
It's like the last one, wasn't it like 2, maybe 3 years? The one we had prior, not the one we just doing, but the one before it.
Remember what it said.
Pardon? I thought it was a little bit longer than a year. If it's the one I'm thinking of.
I don't see anything about the length of it. I'm just reading where the, it just says it can be terminated at any time for any reason by either party, but all I have is the print off of the subscriber agreement. If I'm recalling correctly, we did it it's on a yearly basis. Because we were with them before. I'd be happy to double check for you, but I don't.
It's not an issue. I read through it, but I just couldn't remember if it was something that we would be brought up on an annual basis.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I see so many of these things that they kind of blend together after a while.
And what about a cancellation if we're not happy?
Yeah, it says, I was just reading that. It says that it could be canceled by either party at any time with a written notice, so.
Okay.
With no,
But again, this was a service we used for years, And then in the interest of saving a little money, last year we switched to a different vendor that essentially offered the same database type services. And the detectives, investigators were just much happier, requested to go back to this one.
And still within budget.
Yes, it's budgeted in this year. Yes, sir.
I'm always looking for indemnity clauses and things like that, and not for the termination. But I believe it is terminable at will.
Okay.
I move that we accept the contract.
I'll second.
Motion for approval and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lamb,
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd.
Yay.
Paragraph 4 on the first page says, unless provided in otherwise in a pricing supplement, either party may terminate the agreement at any time for any reason upon notice.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And third item on the agenda tonight is approval to purchase 6 Dodge Durangos for the police department.
So these were the 6 Durangos that were included in this year's budget. We're purchasing 4 V8 Durangos that will go to patrol, and then we're purchasing 2 V6 Durangos that will go to our detectives. They sent us the single unit individual prices, but the 4 V8 Durangos are $179,368. The 2 V6 Durangos are $83,938 for a total of all 6 vehicles of $263,306. Again, that's in this year's budget, just requesting permission to go ahead and purchase those vehicles and get them ordered.
Chief, I've got a question for you. We received an email from Vice Mayor Johnson, who could not be here tonight, about some catastrophic engine failures with the Indiana State Police. They've received 219 of these, and 39 of these Durangos have had issues.
I saw the same article. He sent it to me. We haven't experienced any significant challenges with these Durangos since we've been using them. This comes up fairly routinely as a question or comment. We've discussed it with our mechanics when it's come up. Any vehicle is going to have problems here and there, and we've had some fuel pump issues, but certainly nothing at a catastrophic engine level. We've got phenomenal shop mechanics that do work and keep an eye on this stuff for us. Again, they love them. The officers love them. With all due respect, I could get on the internet and find things bad about Explorers or Tahoes or whatever vehicle you wanted to look at. Anytime you mass produce vehicles, if you get a defect in a line, in a production line as they're running a series, these things can happen. But, based on all the research we've done, the research that we see out there, Durangos is one of the, if not the consistently top rated vehicles for patrol. So we're just not seeing any issues that would cause alarm for us to want to look at something different right now.
And I'll add to that. I spoke to our lead mechanic this morning after that article came out, and he seconded what the chief said. We've had a few fuel pumps. Some of the old Challengers, we did have some cams, but as we're shifting away from those, we've not had that problem with the Durangos, and they are happy in the shop with them.
I think from my understanding, because when we first started going with Durangos, I was not favorable because of reports that I did and the research that I did on it, even with other police departments and stuff. But yet all the questions were answered, and I don't think there's been any major issues since we've gone to them because of the mechanics that we have and so forth. And I think this is a particular limit of or what am I say, style, model, whatever that's coming. Because when we first started with Durangos, I contacted the people and those that make Durangos and several cities that were using them and got responses. They were doing the Durangos made especially for patrolling now. They basically just use them for the police departments now. And started taking them away because of issues that they had. But I don't think there's been any, like you said, any major issues with them now. there's not been any complaints, so.
No, again, when this has been asked a few times since I've been chief, the answer consistently from our mechanics has been, there's just no issues. We're not seeing any type of catastrophic failures. Again, you run into stuff, we've had a few fuel pump issues, but other than that, nothing at a catastrophic engine level or nothing that's raised any concern from the mechanics to bring it to me.
Mainly just normal wear and tear.
Just normal wear and tear. I mean, they're patrol vehicles. They get driven hard, driven a lot, run a lot of miles. But again, all the research that we've done consistently marks the Durango as a top-rated patrol vehicle for the years. For several years, it was the number one, depending on who you looked at. But we look at a study that comes out of Michigan State Police, which was kind of the top-tier study, and they consistently had it at number one or number two over the years. And it's just been for us, it's been a very reliable and well-liked, well-received vehicle by not only our mechanics, but the patrol officers.
Okay. Any other comments, questions for the chief?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Motion for approval
I'll second.
and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb,
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd.
Yay.
Thank you.
And next item is the fourth item, approval of the 2024 Collegedale Greenway extension and parking.
Yes, we're requesting approval tonight to enter into contract with Wilson Construction Group for the amount of $2,839,385.30 for the Greenway extension and parking lot across from the Little Debbie Park.
Okay. I regret that I was away on a business trip 2 weeks ago, was not able to be here to vote on this. This is something that I feel very strongly about. I sent our city manager and commissioners an email outlining 3 reasons why I feel like this parking lot needs to go forward. Number one, as we heard this evening, our citizens want this parking lot. Our citizens need this parking lot. So this is something that for our community that we need to do. The second reason why I feel like that, and I outlined this in my email, that we need to move forward on this parking lot is that we need this parking lot for events. We do many events, and I've talked to Leanne Bartow about this. We do 20 large events that are open to the public, in addition to the city's 2 large events. And, but when we have events, we're seeing a lot of parking illegally. We're seeing people park in landscaping, which cost us money. But the third reason why I feel like that we need to move forward is simple integrity with the donor. This land was donated. The donor then paid for a bridge that we need to accommodate this parking lot. And I think just it only makes sense to move forward on this. I did also get an email from Vice Mayor Johnson. He's asked that I read this email, and I will read this in its entirety. Mayor Lloyd and City Manager Hines, I regret that I will not be able to attend the commission meeting on Monday, July 15th due to family vacation plans. However, I kindly request that one of you read this letter during the vote on the parking lot. First and foremost, I want to emphasize that the parking lot remains my top priority. In February 2024, all 5 commissioners, including myself, voted in favor of prioritizing the construction of the parking lot. Why I initially voted no on the parking lot. As commissioners, it is our duty to ask questions and to ensure that we are making the right decisions. Being accountable to the public requires us to be well-informed and knowledgeable about the matters we vote on. I am committed to making informed decisions that the citizens expect from us. Upon learning that the lowest bid for the parking lot construction was over $2.839 million, I was truly surprised, shocked, considering that we had just passed a budget which included over $1.5 million for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. The lowest bid received was 1.339 million over our budget. Considering this significant difference, I requested that the parking lot be placed on the upcoming commission workshop agenda to discuss potential cost reduction opportunities. It was important for me to thoroughly examine the possibility of reducing cost and determine the most viable approach. I have several requests regarding this matter that I would like to highlight. Where is the additional 1.339 million coming from? Will the additional projects voted on be deferred, and if so, which ones? Are there alternative measures we can take to further reduce costs, such as reducing asphalt thickness, implementing a phased construction approach, and reducing the number of parking spaces on the first phase? Wayan requested that we document our questions and concerns, which I promptly did and shared with the commissioners. The following day, I had a discussion with Wayan to address these questions. Although I'm not a builder or engineer, I firmly believe that my questions and suggestion help me to make an informed decision. Based upon my current understanding, the 1.339 million will be funded from our fund balance and will not impact projects on our prioritized list. If I were present at the commission meeting, I would vote yes in favor of the parking lot construction. I want to reiterate that the parking lot's ranking has not changed, and it remains a top priority for me. Thank you for sharing my thoughts on this matter on record. Although I cannot vote online, I want everyone to know that I support moving forward. Tim Johnson, Vice Mayor, Collegeville, Tennessee. Other comments from the commission?
It really hurts to spend that much. But I also know that when I come, I prefer walking on the greenway on this part of it because it's flatter and I don't get so out of breath. So I would like to see the parking lot so that I could be closer to that part of the greenway. And I know that a lot of individuals walk on that section of the greenway. Materials are not going to get any cheaper. We all know that anything that deals with crude oil is going to be expensive. And I think that we need to just bite the bullet and get it done.
I would agree with you. I think we need to move forward because you're right, it's not going to get any cheaper. It will only get more expensive. This is a need that we as a city have, and it's something we can afford. Commissioner Baker?
Yes, I was for to continue and carry it out and do it as we previously budgeted on and so forth. And I have to be in agreement with what they're saying. Mainly, the reason I say number one is because it is not going to get any cheaper. It's already doubled its price from the time when we first started talking about this. And even though according to the contract or the agreement with the parties that were involved, we might have a couple of more years, but the thing is it's going to double in price or more. Okay. And right now we're working to reduce and make sure that we don't have to increase any extra taxes on people or property tax or so forth. So we lined everything up. We have the monies to do it according to you, to the weigh-in and the city managers that when we've met before. I have to agree that I think it's a good decision. As the commons progress and they're fixing to add another phase, they're going to have more weddings. They have a lot of people that come out for private events that covers a lot of parking. And I think it's just a good investment at this time. And then another thing is, I think that we as a city, we should keep our integrity and honor the word. Even if we were not the commissioner at the time that made the agreement, the fact that a contract was made between donors and the city, it needs to be honored. If not, we're putting in jeopardy future work and future endeavors with our other companies and so forth. We're trying to build this city to be aggressive, but be family oriented so that we still have some control.
Yeah, I would
So-
agree with you. I think it's very important that we honor our word as a city. In having produced events for many years, I was involved producing Air Show Chattanooga from 1992 to 2005. And I can tell you, if you don't provide adequate parking, people won't come. And we are not the only game in town. There are other event venues where people can host fall festivals, apple festivals, whatever the festival may be. And the competition will only get tougher as the years go on and additional venues come on board. So I think in order to meet the needs of the people who attend these festivals, events that we host here in our city, which is a moneymaker for our city, that we've got to provide adequate parking. I think that's absolutely essential. And if there's no further discussion, I would like to make a motion for approval for this parking lot.
I'll second.
Motion for approval and second roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb?
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd?
Yay. And next, request for reports from city administration. Oh, I'm sorry, we left Mr. Byford off. You're number 5, approval of airport terminal painting. We can't leave you off.
Absolutely not. So this is the project that was included in this year's budget for the terminal refresh. This is the painting. We're going to start with the painting. Included in your packet tonight are a few quotes for that job. Newman and Sons Painting, as well as Tim Payne Painting. I'd like to ask approval to move forward with the Newman and Sons Painting. Both are interior and exterior of the terminal building, identical scope, but the cost difference is quite considerable. Newman and Sons is at $24,900. Again, that's for interior and exterior. Tim Payne Painting is at $35,023.
And they do a good job.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people that have used them, and they've all said 5 stars. They've been very pleased with their work.
Any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion for approval?
I move that we approve the Newman Son.
And I will second that. And roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb?
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd?
Yay.
Thank you.
And please proceed quickly. Let's get the airport looking like it's out of the 1990s. I think a refresh will make a big difference. And now a report from city administration.
So the big thing tonight is we've asked Mr. Jolly to come forward and give a presentation on the grant that we're working with him on out at the airport, the Jobs Creation Grant. Let him share his vision and what would end up being the city responsibility versus his responsibility. We will go into more detail as far as MOUs and that sort of thing at workshop. This is more high level, and it was included in your packet to give you an idea of the magnitude of some of these costs and those sorts of items.
Thank you, Wayne. I apologize for y'all in the audience not being able to see this, but feel free after, the commission meeting to come up and I'll try to answer any questions you might have regarding these exhibits. Thank you for the introduction. My name's Jay Jolly. I'm retired, very proud of it. I was in the construction industry for 40 years, also did development, and I've been a pilot for 47 years. I've been at the Collegedale Airport for 24 years. So I feel very confident in being able to talk to you about this project, something that I'm very excited about. I think it's a perfect example of how the public and private monies can work together for the improvement of the city, for the improvement of the airport. When I was in business, I had a saying that if you expect exceptional results, you'll get them. And I think this project is an exceptional project as it relates to its uniqueness, and it's kind of a one-off project. As a pilot for 46 years, 47 years, I've never seen a project like this at an airport. The one that comes closest to it is in Bentonville, Arkansas, one that was done by the Walton family when they redid the airport there, and they have a beautiful exhibit, fixed-based operation that really connects the city, the community to the airport. This isn't on that scale, but it has the same theme with regards to connecting the city and the community to the airport. The businesses that I want to introduce you to, this is kind of a refresh. It's also kind of an update that Wayne wanted me to give you. There's two businesses that I want to bring to the airport. One of them is called Skyballs HQ, which is headquarters. It's a 10,650 square foot hangar that's going to specialize in a new concept of aircraft management, where we will manage rather expensive aircraft for individuals. We'll do maintenance on it, we'll do the hangaring, we'll do the cleaning, and provide all the services necessary for those individuals in their aircraft. The second business is called Skyballs MX, which is a maintenance, avionics, and power plant facility for experimental aircraft. Both of these businesses have been presented to weigh-in the form of a letter outlining the economic benefits to the city and the investment opportunities that it will require. To give you a little bit more information about Skyballs HQ and Skyballs MX, these projects will be the new entrance into the airport. They'll be along Appson Pike, which is a southern boundary of the airport. Right now, it's not uncommon for the perception of the airport to be kind of a secured facility without a welcoming presence. And to get into the airport, you have to have a code or access. This plan is to help soften those borders and create a more receptive approach for the community. As you can see, it'll be on the southern end of the airport, bounded by Appson Pike and the expansion. So it'll be very visible. And rather than having just this big penitentiary type metal building, we want to open the building up with large windows and multiple colors and entrances into the airport or into this building. It will be a first-class facility with polished floors, super flat floors. The interior will be high-end finishes. It will be air conditioned and heated. There'll be an area outside the hangar for the community with a fire pit, so that the community can actually park on Bessemer Road and then walk along the side of the facility and look inside the hangar and see the types of airplanes that we have on display. So this would be the sidewalk and the fire pit and the seating area for the community to be right here, and the community to be able to look inside the airport hangar at all times. We'll also have a display window along Appson Pike in both hangars, so they can actually see work being done on aircraft as they're being repaired. And you can also look at a featured airplane that we would have on a periodic basis, just to draw interest, to the airport and attention. So a building like this doesn't come without a lot of cost. This is about a $4.8 million project, of which about 60% of the project will be paid for with private money. 30% of it would be paid for through a grant from TDOT, which has already been awarded to the city and the airport. And the remaining 10% would be an investment by the city into the project for the economic benefit. So this investment of $4.8 million will produce a little bit over $2 million of economic impact to the city on an annual basis. And all this information has been given to weigh-in. Something that Commissioner Katie said earlier that resonates with me is nothing gets cheaper. And there's really two hurdles with this project getting done successfully. One of them is timing, to make sure we don't delay the process. The schedules that Ryan and Wayne and I have been working on over this project schedule the project to go out to bid in the fall of this year. I would need to order metal buildings and long lead time items by the end of this year, and we would need to start construction after site work was completed in June of next year, okay? Now, that sounds like a lot of time, but it's not. And it's not because the other hurdle we have is TDOT. TDOT is miserably slow with regards to the process they require for us to get the monies from them for this project. So my encouragement to the city and to weigh-in and to Ryan is do everything we can to expedite the TDOT approval and the grant process. But more importantly, what we need to do right now is get an agreement codified between Skyballs, HQ, MX, and the city so that we can begin the procurement of architectural services, engineering services, and the materials necessary to build this project on time. So with that, I'd like to open it up to any questions you might have.
Questions? Well, I'd like to say, first of all, I couldn't be more excited. It's just, wow, it's thrilling to see this kind of investment in our airport here in Collegedale, because you're exactly right. No one is doing anything like this in the United States. And for us to have this opportunity is outstanding. Secondly, and this has been a source of contention with me, is that this airport has only had a $3.3 million economic impact for many years, and sometimes struggled to achieve that. So to add a $2 million economic impact on top of 3.3 tells me we're absolutely moving in the right direction, and I couldn't be any more in favor of it. Other questions, comments?
I just recall in my earlier years in Collegedale, there was a lot of activity out at the airport. And I have, since I've been on the commission, have been a little concerned that maintenance and so forth had not been kept up, and that we were losing individuals from using our airport. So to me, it's encouraging that we're looking at it as a benefit for our community versus something that we could not be proud of.
I think everyone, but I'm usually the tail end to say anything, so I don't like to be redundant. But I do have to agree with that, the mayor and Commissioner Lamb. For years, when we first moved here, my husband and I have been here 25 years. We used to take our kids out to the airport. They had family days, they had activities, you could see, and it was a bustle of activity, and it was pretty well kept up. And then it was kind of disheartening when I went out there back. I go out there quite a bit just to watch the planes, deteriorating. But we have gotten we've turned around. We're going through the right process now and going the right way. I'd like to see it continue. Anything that would bring something to our community that will enhance it, reduce obligations for having to depend on property tax for our citizens, I think is a good thing. And we need to have it because it's going to keep our young people here. That my whole thing when I first started running years ago, the first time I became on commission, is we were losing our youth. They were leaving the area and not coming back. And if you don't have the youth, and if you don't have the people, and you don't have the things going into your city to grow, the city dies. And unfortunately, events that happened prior to this commission, at one time that it was looking at our city was going bankrupt. We were actually on the verge of bankrupt. And the commission that has, Katie and I have had the privilege to serve on, and with the mayor now, it's turned around. It's taken some time, and we look at these things and we look at it diligently. We scrutinize them, we tear them apart, we pick out and all that to get the information that we need. And this is a sound, to me, investment. It's something that we need to do. You got the community, you got private stakeholders, we got the government, whatever, to get them on board, and let's get this going. Let's move it while it's, you need to strike while the iron's hot. And I know it's going to take time, but we need to put in motion to get it going and doing what it needs to be done to make it a success and make it come to truth.
As with being at the airport for 24 years, I've seen several commission makeups. I've seen several city managers, and I've seen several airport managers come and go. But the one thing that I think is consistent is the city has a tremendous asset in the form of this airport. And it has a tremendous economic engine that is underutilized. And it's underutilized not because the decision was made, but because decisions haven't been made. They've been just ignored, and the airport's been pushed off to the side. The success of this airport rests somewhat on fuel sales and hangar rental. But the missing link in the airport becoming vibrant is connecting it to the community. You got to find a way to expand the base of interest for the airport. And the only way to do that is to connect it with the community. And we have to find ways to do that through the development, through private-public partnerships, through more community involvement at the airport with functions, and just making the community aware of what an airport is and how much fun it can be. And with that, we'll spur economic development. So there's got to be a bridge built between the airport and the community. And I firmly believe that this project will be the first pillar of that bridge to be built. So I appreciate the opportunity to present to you. Appreciate you, Wayne. Appreciate you, Ron. I do think this is something that can reshape the entrance to the airport and begin building that bridge to the community. So thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be a great thing. In city administration, anything further?
That's it for tonight.
You're going to have a hard time topping that.
I wasn't going to try.
And comments from the commission?
I have one thing. People are beginning to park again on the sidewalk on University Drive. And coming out on some of the little side roads, it makes it difficult to see the traffic coming toward you. So I just wanted to bring that to attention to Chief Sapp.
On the sidewalk on University Drive?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay.
Particularly coming up, if you're coming north into the city from Stanford Gap, coming up that hill from Moore Road up, it's very difficult to see the cars if you're pulling out on some of those side streets.
Okay.
Chief Sapp, I would like to encourage you to continue the speed reduction efforts. It seems to me this summer, speeding has become a problem in the city again. So let's keep up the speed reduction efforts, please, sir.
Yes, sir.
And one other question I had for our city manager. I know at this point we are without a public works director. Do we have a candidate or candidates that we are looking at?
Yes, yes, and we're interviewing this week and hoping to extend an offer late this week or early next.
Okay. Are we looking internally or externally or both?
Both.
Both? Okay. All right. Commissioner Baker.
Yes, Wayne, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it or if you even received it. I received an email, maybe all of you have, from Ms. Salmons, who has to deal, it was a notification about monies available that was awarded for railroad projects and so forth through the railroad. It was ordered from the government. It's
Yes.
something like $38 million.
We're looking through that at first blush. It didn't look very applicable to us, but we're going in a little more detail to see if there is anything that would be useful.
I know not so much the tracks, but I was looking to possibly to see about it with the project that Commissioner Johnson wanted to do with building an overlook or something for the people to observe the,
So skimming it, that didn't seem applicable.
Right.
Most of the items I saw were improvement of crossings.
Mhm.
And none really jumped out in my mind that we were doing that are outside of the Absent Pike project, but should be straightening and those sorts of things. But again, we're going through it in a little more detail.
possibly some way add into that because it is dealing with that. But then if it could be an expansion some way, I don't know how they would include it of adding that. Or even looking at a different area to place.
Right, a lot of it was remove two to get one or improving non-safe crossings.
Is there any further communication with the Wright brothers?
I've not had any since the last letter and
Okay.
conversation. I will say I was traveling a week or two ago and saw the beams on the highway. So I'm not sure where they're being laid down right now, but I did see the concrete beams being transported towards the city.
You're talking about our concrete?
Our concrete beams.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Well, I hope they continue to move towards this city.
I do too.
And the crane to come with
What's
it.
that big crane? Is that the one we've been waiting on?
I'm not sure.
The
Again,
cement
I've not
crane
had
that's
any,
been brought in?
I've not had any further conversations since the last one with Representative Vital.
Okay. If
Okay.
you hear anything further, please let us know.
Would it?
Okay.
Also, I spoke with Congressman Fleshman and Vidal regarding a light, over here, a red light at the Leland and going on to Udawaringo Road.
Mhm.
Since the TDOT came out and said they're not going to do the expansion
Mhm.
of the road, and we've been waiting for a long time for that. Matter of fact, we put it on hold because they told us they were going to expand Udawaringo Road after finished with Appleton. And
Correct.
since then, we found that they're not going to do that. So I wanted to see if we can continue. There was I mentioned to you about taking care of something that had to be processed.
Correct. So I'm working with RPA to find out what the exact process is to get that added to the long-range plan
Mhm.
outside of the typical call for projects.
Okay.
Typically, they have a call for projects, you submit, they're all graded, and that sets the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So I'm working with them to see, because Representative Vital seemed to understand that there was a way to get it in outside of that normal process. And I'm
You
trying
might
to
want-
nail down
I know
what
that
that
East
is.
Ridge has 5. They've applied for 5 things that they've got into the Department of Transportation now.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a first come, first serve, or if it's just a priority of things.
It's a grading at the call for projects.
Okay.
And East Ridge, going back more than a decade, has essentially had an engineering firm on staff that managed their grant process as part of the reinvestment in some of the border region tax funding and their pedestrian and bicycle expansion projects.
Okay.
But again, I'm waiting to get a final answer from the RPA on how we can get this project added.
Yeah, because they said they'd be glad to get on board if we can get that proper, General's what we got to do, fill out the paperwork. You know how government is with paperwork.
Yes. One last thing is workshop is not next week, but the 29th this month due to the TML conference. So we pushed it to the 5th Monday.
Any other comments, questions by the commission? There are none. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
I will move that we adjourn.
Motion for adjournment. I'll second that and roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yay.
Commissioner Lamb?
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd?
Yay. And we are adjourned.
You might make it over there today.
Well, they closed at 6, don't they?